हेलो दोस्तों एंड वेलकम टू यूपीएससी अड्डा। आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के हमारी इस नई वीडियो में। और आज हम लोग वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में द हिस्ट्री ऑफ रशिया, जो मॉडर्न रशिया है, वो देखेंगे। इन मॉडर्न टर्म्स रशिया वाज इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय सोशलिज्म। और अगर इसके डिफरेंट इराज की बात करें तो सबसे पहले देयर इज़ अ incident of Russian Revolution of 1905, then Russian Revolution of February 1917, then Russian Revolution of October 1917, then Civil War era in Russia during 1918 to 1920. New economic policy of Lenin came in 1921 to 1929. Stalinism, the era of Stalinism was from 1929 to 1953. And then there is a regime of Nikita Khrushchev in 1953 to 1964, and there was a Brezhnev era, which is a period marked by stagnation during 1964 to 1985. Then the period of Mikhail Gorbachev in 1985 to 1991, and then in 1991 there is a USSR disintegration. So we'll see one by one. First, starting from Russian Revolution of 1905. So Russia was a monarchy and with no form of popular representation in the policy, and it was ruled by the Romanov dynasty headed by the Tsar. After the mid 19th centuries, Russia attempted industrialization, and as a result, a minority working class came into the existence in urban areas. However, given the huge landmass and scattered population, Russian industrialization could not be realized effectively. There was also a shortage of capital for investment and lack of thriving private sector. Russian economy was dominated by the landed magnates of agrarian society and the aristocracy, that is nobility. तो ये लोग dominant थे, and hence on the eve of World War I in 1914, although the industrialization had begun, the Russian economy was still largely agrarian and masses were the peasants. Grievances that led to the Russian Revolution 1905, if we examine, so first grievance is of peasants. So after its industrialization, Russia needed the labor in its factories, and hence the serfdom was abolished in 1861. Serfdom जो था was the feudal phenomena where the mass peasants were tied to the land, that is the poor peasant जो थे had to provide their labor cost free on the land of nobility. And जो लैंडलॉर्ड थे, स्पेशली जो बिग लैंडलॉर्ड थे, दे कुड नॉट हैव दी लैंड, दे कुड नॉट लीव दी लैंड एंड वर बाउंड टू इट फॉर दी लाइफ अक्रॉस जनरेशन. तो एक तरीके से बॉन्डेड लेबर टाइप का था सर्वडोम, एंड देयर फोर द स्टेटस ऑफ पीजेंट्स वॉज लाइक अ स्लेव विथ लॉयल्टी एंड टोटल सबवर्जन टू देयर ओनर ऑफ द लैंड फॉर लाइफ. हाउएवर दिस फ्रीडम डिड नॉट केम फॉर द फ्री, एंड जब ये सर्वडोम खत्म हुआ, द पीजेंट फ्रीड फ्रॉम द सर्वडोम was provided with a small piece of land, and in return they had to pay a annual जो है retention payment in lieu of their freedom. And this forms a major grievance of the peasant, and they demanded the land redistribution as there was a huge concentration of land holding. फिर वर्कर्स का देखें अगर, तो द वर्कर्स वर इन माइनॉरिटी इन रशियन सोसाइटी, एंड मॉडर्न वर्कर्स हैड कम ऑन अ सीन as a result of attempted industrialization. The worker did not have any right, and their experience was similar to the experience of working class in Britain after the industrialization 1950 onwards. The workers suffered from poor wages उनको मिलते थे, lack of job security थी उनके पास, कोई भी सोशल सिक्योरिटी नहीं थी, and they were oppressed by the factory owners. And ये तो हो गया वर्कर्स का, पीजेंट्स का. देन मिडिल क्लास का क्या ग्रीवांसेस थे? तो देयर वाज वेरी लिटिल फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच एंड एक्सप्रेशन फॉर मिडिल क्लास, ऑल्दो दे हैव पॉलिटिकल ग्रुप्स एंड पार्टीज, बट दे हैव नो एलिमेंट ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव डेमोक्रेसी इन रशियन पॉलिटी, and hence there is a no parliament, and Tsar ruled the dictatorially and with assistance from his aristocracy. And to curb the political activity, there was huge use of secret police. Hence the educated middle class desired political reforms. What was the trigger? So the defeat in the Russo-Japanese War of 1905 and 1904 and 1905 acted as a trigger for Russian Revolution of 1905. The war brought the economy under the stress of popularity, and the Tsar came down as Russia got defeated by an Asian power. रूसो-जापानीज वॉर में जापान से हार गए जब, and it was a spontaneous outburst and without any planning or coordination of political parties, and hence it was easily curbed on the as the army stayed loyal to the Tsar. तो ये 1905 रिवॉल्यूशन सक्सेस नहीं हो पाया बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ यूनिटी बिटवीन डिफरेंट पॉलिटिकल ग्रुप्स. ऑल्सो जार मेड टाइमली कंसेशन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अक्टूबर मैनिफेस्टो ऑफ 1905. अक्टूबर मैनिफेस्टो क्या था? इट वॉज अ सेट ऑफ प्रोमिसेस बाय जार टू द पीपल ऑफ रशिया. क्या क्या प्रोमिसेस किए गए थे? तो प्रॉमिस टू एंड द रिडम्पशन पेमेंट एंड मीजर्स टू इंक्रीज द लैंड होल्डिंग ऑफ स्मॉल पीजेंट्स, प्रॉमिस of improving wages and working conditions of the workers, promise of bringing democratic reforms and of establishment of a parliament along with decreased use of secret police. And hence Russian Revolution in 1905 failed to end monarchy in Russia. कमिंग टू दी रशियन रिवोल्यूशन 1907, तो सबसे पहले रिवोल्यूशन ऑफ रीजन फरवरी 1917 हुआ. रीज़न क्या था इसका? There was a delay of 12 years for the next revolution in Russia, 1905 से 1917 था, due to implementation of reforms as part of the October Manifesto. However, the revolution took place nevertheless because of the half-hearted implementation of this October Manifesto. तो क्या क्या half-hearted implementation हुआ जिसकी वजह से हुआ? तो the redemption payment जो promise किया गया था was abolished and peasant was given option to buy land in Siberia and Kazakhstan. However, this only increased the concentration of land holding in the hands of big landlord, as only rich could buy these land, and hence the demand of land redistribution persisted. The Russo-Japanese War of 1904 to 1905 was costly, and Russia also lost its economic influence in the Manchuria. And now Tsar sought to improve the relation with Britain, which was the top economy power of the Europe at that time. And the Britain-Russia agreement of 1907 resolved the colonial conflicts and also included a trade and investment agreement aimed at improving the Russian economy. Hence the Russian economy improved in the short term, and the factory owners were able to increase their wages of the workers. Also, factory inspectors were also deployed to check operations of the worker by managers. Hence, there was a relief for workers in short term. However, Russia struggled with industrialization, and no social security measures were brought. And in the 3 year preceding of the World War I, there was continued strikes by the worker. इसके अलावा जो डूमा और पार्लियामेंट जो इस्टेब्लिश की गई थी, however, the right to vote was linked with the income criteria, and therefore the poor workers and peasants did not get voting rights. तो इलेक्शंस वर कंडक्टेड इन द फर्स्ट डूमा जो 1906 में बनी थी, एंड द मिडिल क्लास रिप्रेजेंटेटिव रेज्ड द डिमांड फॉर वर्कर्स एंड पुअर पीजेंट्स. When they demanded accountability of Tsar ministers to Duma, Tsar disbanded the first Duma. The elections were again held, and second Duma in 1907 was constituted. It was also disbanded by the Tsar due to the same reasons. The third and fourth Duma was established to complete their terms only because Tsar attended the voting criteria, so only the rich had right to vote, and these elite sections were loyal to Tsar. Also, misuse of the secret police was continued along with the political violence. The brother, for example, brother of Lenin was executed by the Tsar's regime. तो ये सारे लॉन्ग टर्म रीजंस थे. और ट्रिगर क्या था? तो फरवरी रेवोल्यूशन 1917 का. तो इन वर्ल्ड वॉर वन आर्मी गॉट डिसलॉयल टू ज़ार, और ब्रेड रिवॉर्ड्स होने लगे, इतना ज़्यादा भुखमरी आ गई. तो ये ट्रिगर साबित हुआ. और इसके अलावा जो है कंट्रोवर्सी भी थी कि जो डेथ ऑफ एक पीएम स्टोलिपिन था 1912 में, और डेथ ऑफ रेस्पुतिन, तो इसके अराउंड भी कंट्रोवर्सी थी. तो अगर देखें हम लोग वर्ल्ड वॉर वन का इसमें कंट्रीब्यूशन, तो द पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ वर्ल्ड वॉर वन प्रूव टू बी द ट्रिगर ऑफ फरवरी रिवॉल्यूशन, एंड रशिया लेड बाय ज़ार इन दी वॉर, एंड हिज लीडरशिप come under the heavy criticism due to the continued defeat at the hands of German. The morale of the soldiers got severely affected, which resulted in breeding of disloyalty in the army. The World War I resulted in an economic crisis-like situation in the Russia, and there was food shortages and there was blood riots in the Russian cities. All this hurt the popularity of Tsar, and nationalism along the people added to it. The Russia felt that Tsar had uh, dragged them into the World War One, and they wanted to exist from the war. इसके अलावा कंट्रोवर्सीज का क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन था, तो देर वॉज अ सर्टेन कंट्रोवर्सीज लाइक कंट्रोवर्सी दैट जार is was behind the death of popular PM Stolypin in 1912, and it was under the Stolypin that reforms of October Manifesto was implemented, और उसको ही पॉपुलर पीएम को ही उसने मरवा दिया, ये कहा जाता था. एंड इसके अलावा एक राजपुतिन के अराउंड भी कंट्रोवर्सी थी. राजपुतिन जो थे एक हीलर थे, एंड हु कम क्लोज टू द रॉयल फैमिली एज ही कुड नॉट एज ही कुड ट्रीट द चाइल्ड ऑफ जार एज, एंड ही गेन्ड इन्फ्लुएंस. दिस द एरिस्टोक्रेसी इन द कोर्ट जो थी fumed against him, and there was a controversy that he had gained excess influence over the Tsar and hence controlled his policies and decisions. In February Revolution, Tsar was overthrown as he was forced to abdicate the thrones, and now the provisional government came to the power, which was a collision of the cadets and social revolutionary parties, but the provisional government was dominated by cadets. ये रहा फरवरी रिवोल्यूशन का. देन कम टू द अक्टूबर रिवोल्यूशन 1917. तो जो पॉलिटिकल ग्रुप्स और पार्टीज इन रशिया थी, इसमें जो सबसे पहले जो हमने यहाँ पर देखा सोशल रिवोल्यूशनरी पार्टी SRP. तो जो सोशल रिवोल्यूशनरी पार्टी थी ये बनी. इट कोर सपोर्ट बेस वॉज द पीसेंट्स, एंड दे आर रिप्रेजेंटेड एंड इट रिप्रेजेंटेड देयर इंटरेस्ट. जो सोशल representative party थी, desired the land distribution in favor of the poor peasants, and it desired an agrarian economy where the common peasant it prosperous, and also organized into voluntary cooperatives and pooling of regions and joint production. They did not favor the rapid industrialization, as that would mean the neglect of agriculture sector, and also did not believe in end of the private property. The cadets जो थे, they represented the middle class and desired multi-party democracy with capitalism. The social democratic labor party निकली. This party believed in Maoist ideas. Bolshevik and जो है Mensheviks emerged from this its party, and Bolshevik means majority, Mensheviks and Bolshevik means majority and Mensheviks means minority जो groups थे. And these groups got their names as a consequence of elections and ऑफ पार्ट. एक इसके अलावा एक एडिटरशिप थी ऑफ पार्टी न्यूज़पेपर इसक्रा चलता था. बोल्शेविक हु गॉट मेजॉरिटी वर लेड बाय द लेनिन्स. तो बोल्शेविक्स एंड मेंशेविक्स के अगर हम लोग कंपेरेटिव स्टडी देखें तो बोल्शेविक्स जो थे वे वर मोर रिवोल्यूशनरी, एंड दे वर कमिटेड टू कम्युनिस्ट रिवोल्यूशन एंड वांटेड रिवोल्यूशन एज सुन एज पॉसिबल. वेयरएज मेंशेविक्स थे, दे वर मोर हार्ड more towards the was Marxist, and was believed that it is not the time for the revolution in Russian economy, is because Russian economy is not fully industrialized. The Bolsheviks said the only criteria for party membership is commitment to the revolution, and they were put faith in the peasantry, and hence adjusted principle of Marx as per the context of Russia. Whereas जो Mensheviks थे, since Marx did not trust peasants with community revolution, hence not right time for the revolution. Along with this, focus on the maximizing the size of party irrespective of the commitment of revolution. तो ये बैकग्राउंड रहा. फिर इमीडिएट रीजंस क्या रहा अक्टूबर रिवोल्यूशन 1917 के. तो पहला था फेलियर ऑफ प्रोविजनल गवर्नमेंट. तो द पीपल एग्जीक्यूटेड द प्रोविजनल गवर्नमेंट टू expected the provisional government to withdraw from the World War I. Along with this, to do land reforms and to conduct the elections for constituencies and for constituting a constituent assembly that would draft the democratic constitution of Russian Republic. These were also a significant surge in the army, which desired withdrawal from the World War I. The provisional government did not withdraw from World War I, and due to the pressure from allied powers, as that would and the two front of that that would lead to the two front war from Germany. The provisional government was dominated by cadets who were pro-capitalist and pro-big landlords. Hence, they did not conduct land redistribution, citing the exigency of war. Also, they did not conduct election, citing the same reason for the war. Meanwhile, defeat of Russia at the hands of Germany continued, and and then, as a part of Zimmermann plan of Germany, Lenin, who was in exile in Switzerland, was transported back by Germany into the Russia, and now he led the Bolsheviks to conduct the October Revolution of 1917. तो लेनिन ने प्रॉमिस द पीपल टू एग्जिट फ्रॉम वर्ल्ड वॉर वन, इलेक्शंस एंड लैंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। जो चीज़ें एक्सपेक्ट की जा रही थी प्रोविजनल गवर्नमेंट से वो कर नहीं कर पाई थी, वही सब चीज़ें लेनिन ने अगेन प्रॉमिस किया। द रेड आर्मी कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड द आर्म्ड कैडर ऑफ बोल्शेविक्स एंड द सेगमेंट ऑफ रशियन आर्मी विच म्यूटिनेड ड्यूरिंग द अक्टूबर रिवोल्यूशन। The Lenin captured the strategic headquarters as the worker went on the mass strike in cities. The peasant in the countryside took over the lands of the big landlord, which would later be recognized as by Lenin as a legally occupied. तो ये सारी चीज़ें हो गई, and because of this the Russian revolutions happened, and after this the period of Lenin was started. So this is a part of modern history of the Russia, so we will cover it in the next video. तो आज की वीडियो के लिए इतना ही। होप यू लाइक दिस वीडियो, और अगर अच्छा लगा तो प्लीज़ लाइक करें। इस तरह के वीडियो के लिए चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें, अपने PS ग्रुप में, अपने स्टडी सर्कल में, या जो भी इंटरेस्टेड हो उनको शेयर करें। और आपके जो भी कमेंट हैं, जो भी फीडबैक है, प्लीज़ कमेंट सेक्शन में लिखें, और आई विल हैप्पी टू आंसर दैट। मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय।